Another dark log from the diary of a griever named John Weaver, which is me. Morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? Because I sure as hell ain't. Well, slept a little bit anyway, I think. It's March 22nd, 2026, and it is Sunday morning, about, after 4:30 in the morning. It's about 4:39. Okay, shout out to the artist in recovery, Slash Therapy. He's doing a Star Trek kick, but he should have been doing it a hell of a lot further on that one. Since Trump took office, the second term, we've been losing our freedom of speech slowly but surely, as the corporate media and the independent producers have been talking about. Especially when studios merge with each other to gain dominance or gain power or whatever the hell they're trying to gain. Losing our we're losing people. We're losing our way of doing freedom of speech, as in newscasters. We've got reporters. We've got news organizations being threatened left and right or wiped out of existence. CBS is already losing his news division or changing it into something we don't even recognize. A lot of people fear the American Pravda, which is the American version of Russian television or Russian media. And other studios have been doing long-term projects, such as the Star Trek, getting lost as well because they're no longer doing it. They're tapped out. Star Trek Academy tapped out. Star Trek New Worlds tapped out. No other new things coming up or continuing. So we don't know what was going to happen next. A lot of fans are disappointed. A lot of actors are going to be out of work or trying to scramble for more work. The thing that pisses me off is about the news organizations, as I said before. When we have an FCC chairman appointed by Trump, we know that everything is going to get so damn screwed up. So, mega mergers happened, and now we've got studios owning this and owning that, not to mention changing formats of the major corporations. MSNBC separated itself from NBC, which became MS Now, to be totally independent but corporate in its own way. So they can still report the news stories they want and not being forced by the billionaires or by Trump himself. Trump wants everything to be nice, shiny, and golden about himself. Everything has to be positive. Just like every other damn asshole out there who kept running their own media to the ground. Turkey may have been a part of NATO, but the leader of the government has run their media to the ground. Everything has to be positive about the glorious leader. Same thing like Russia for a long time. When they've actually been going through political changes in the 20th century into the 21st century, their media still takes a hit. No freedom for it, except for what's being fed by the government. So when we had the second reign of the Donald Trump regime coming in, we've also had reporters getting kicked out of the Pentagon because they didn't play ball. They didn't want to report everything's copacetic or everything's the way that Pete Hegseth wants it reported. Sign this or else. They said fuck you and they walked. So whatever positive, or actually whatever truth was going to be coming out of the Pentagon got squashed. There's a federal judge that said no, that's not allowed. Reporters have a right. And they should have the ability to report what is news. You're interfering with the First Amendment right. Of course, Hegseth's going to have to push this one to the Supreme Court. See what they say about it. They're already screwed up right now as it is. I'm a First Amendment kind of guy. I don't like it when it gets screwed over. I don't like it when I see news stations get shut down or losing personnel. CBS Radio, news radio, had been out there since the 20th century, since the invention of the damn radio. And you had the news organizations, and now it's shut down because there's no other reason except for because. The news organization radio didn't think they were losing money left and right, and it was publicly funded. But then again, so is corporate and public. Public radio we actually had, Corporation of Public Broadcasting we had, NPR, shutting down because Trump don't want it. Trump don't like it. These are the FCC regulations. In fact, the regulator of FCC kept saying, play ball or else. Say nice things about Trump or else. This isn't democracy. This is just fascism. Put it bluntly. What are they be going after? Are they going to be going after the independent platforms as well? Are they be going after the private entities? Probably are. People like me are going to get shut down, thrown off platforms because we're not saying positive natures about their Führer. Der leader. This coming Saturday, we've got No King's Day. I think number 3 or number 4 installment. I intend to attend. I tend to say things that matter to me. I tend to say things that matter a great deal to fans out there of a lot of genres that are getting affected left and right. I tend to commiserate, commemorate, and memorialize Star Trek. They reached 60th anniversary, and now they get to be shut out of existence. No Star Trek in production. I know there was, well, since they had made the original movies a long time ago in the 20th century, and it was back in 87 actually started the next generation and continued the series on. Maybe it was a little bit of a break or continuity or continuations. And then they stopped right after Enterprise. And it took them about another, 10, 20 more years or less to get new series. So we had Star Trek Discovery. That lasted about 5 or 6 seasons. We had Star Trek New Worlds. That lasted about 5 seasons. We got Star Trek Academy on hiatus. Are they going to continue or are they dead? They're dead. Why? Because after the second season, that's it. No more Star Trek. Oh, the fans will continue to do whatever they want. Make their own shows, make their own costumes, go to the conventions. But they'll also pressure Paramount Studios and Skydance who owns Paramount, of having more Star Trek content because the fans are ravenous. When you have a show that lives as long as Star Trek, and you have fans, hardcore and many, are still pushing on the studios. Will it work this time? Originally, back when Star Trek canceled out back in 1969 or 1970, I had about 3 seasons running. And the second season, they actually lived long enough because you had fans who were pushing Paramount at that time and Desilu Studios to continue their favorite genre. It took a harder campaign just to get number 3 out. But after that, forget it. But there have been a lot of fans watching the original series, Next Generation's growing up on it, and Paramount watched and monitored until the executive says, okay, let's bring out a new one. That's what happens. So we have Legacy. But while Star Trek was being written up, fans were creating their own materials for it. Books, magazines, comic books, stuff. They were creating the universe. Whatever's been happening with Paramount Studios and the Star Trek Legacy, it's not going to go away. We already got this monster going on. And it's growing still. But one that happens to ask this question is, how long is the ride and the bubble going to last before the damn thing bursts on people? I'm a Trekkie since I was the first generation to see it as a repeat. I was born under the same year that Star Trek came out on the television. I didn't remember one damn thing about it as a kid, except the first generation came out and I saw it in color. I had to have the toys, I had to have the books, I had to have the comic books, I had to have the stuff throughout my life. And then life, after it gives it, takes it away. Some things I have to scramble for. So yeah, I become a junk dealer. Or a junk collector. But I can't say that about the Star Trek collectibles. Sometimes, they do add up. And gather dust. And rust. And fall to pieces by moth. Life. Meanwhile, the things that created it, people are creating, shuffling around and getting kicked out of offices, out of studios. Different formats will be coming up, or are they going to be coming up? What will happen? People will be asking the same thing about their own formats. The soap opera is already gone. Gone for good, gone forever. Game shows mutate sometimes. With the invention of streaming on the internet, some things live forever. And other packages come up. Well, we keep seeing repeats, and maybe we'll get new generations, new genres going on. I don't know. But sharing information under the First Amendment is going to be tricky enough anyway. We got assholes out there still pushing the religious shit down people's throats. Much like we had the mega churches back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Kept screaming, they want, because God told them to. They want fancy jets, they want fancy buildings, fancy cars, because they think they're going to help the Word of God. Bullshit. Bullshit. So in this new age of controlled media, what are we going to be dealing with now? Is Trump going to be controlling everything from his flunkies? Or we're going to be telling the flunkies to go to hell? Flip them off. Problem is, when we're dealing with media, we're dealing with corporations. They depend upon revenues. Not just stock revenues, but other revenues to support them. We hit them in the bank accounts. We hit him where it hurts in the pocketbook. We hit him there. The oil prices keep going, fluctuating up and up and up because of the stupid Iran war that Trump started. He started it last year, and he's still continuing it. And every time he keeps fucking around with the Middle East is fucking around back. We damn near lost Diego Garcia, a military base off of India that's part run by Great Britain and the United States in joint. Iran tried to launch its own long-range missiles, but it fell short, so Diego was threatened, but not. But that only gives us information and about the capabilities of Iran, whether or not, if their threats of attacking the homeland here of the United States is legitimate or not. So basically we got everybody else on paranoia lot. Terrific. That wasn't bad enough. And because of what's been happening in Congress of funds dried out for agencies that are scrambling like crazy, Department of Justice got starved of public funding. So now the agencies being governed by them, including other agencies that are folded in, like FEMA, well, they're going to be having a hard time trying to deal with all the disasters we've got. Hawaii's one of them. Midwest is another one with a hell of a forest fires. And the weather system's being screwed up. Oh yeah, this is a great time for being in the government system, because everything else going hell in a handbasket. We want to get the ironclad assholes out there to throw people in jail or throw them out of the country, and yet the funding for them got dried up because we've got a stopgap. Or we've got a stopper, if I want to call it, in the Senate, holding the pressure. Just how much is this damn thing going to burst? When is it going to burst? And how messy is it going to be in Congress? We're already showing that the other agencies are suffering right now as it is, while they're folded under the Department of Justice. The ones that are pushing people around, throwing them in jail or throwing them outside, or basically killing people by shooting them or starving them, or beating the crap out of them. Welcome to 2026. That being said,